A properly planned and timely handover avoids problems for you, the team, and for the business. Involving your colleague and sharing responsibility is really important. They themselves will have ideas and will want effective handover. We're going to cover the key points you should think about. Ideally, as soon as you know a team member is going on leave, it's always going to take time to find cover. You might need to train up the replacement. Now, the person themselves might need to leave earlier than expected. And it's good for their health for them to be ramping down rather than ramping up before they go on leave. If a handover is not planned ahead of time, it can end up being rushed and will always be less effective. It may lead to the colleague overworking as leave gets closer. And that's, of course, the complete opposite of what should be happening for their health. At least 12 weeks before the individual is due to leave, preferably earlier, that's the point to start discussing what their thoughts and plans are for cover and for handover. Do they have any concerns? Always best to ask their advice around who could give cover and how they might like the handover to run themselves. Good time to start thinking about how flexible working strategies might help in their last trimester. Part of the process is going to involve the employee themselves identifying the component parts of their role. Good time to review and update their job description and ensure that it covers exactly what it is that the individual does. It's a great idea to start writing handover notes as soon as is possible. It's a good idea to ask the individual to think about who is best to cover off which bits of their role. Take some time to think about how best to transition the various elements of an individual's role. Who could be the best person to cover different parts? Break it down into different sections. Who's got capacity? When do things need to be covered? Get a timeline in place. What are the priorities? You might also think about who would be excited about the challenge of something new. Equally, who might benefit from exposure to new stakeholders? Who might benefit from a bit of stretch? Who might be the right fit for the role? You might find you need to look for resource elsewhere, and if that's the case, you're going to need to create a job specification, get budget approval as soon as possible in order that you can do that. Have a think about what's in it for the person covering the role. It might be a development opportunity. It might give them exposure to areas of the business unfamiliar to them. It could give them some new skills, and it might give them some more responsibility as well. Plan regular catch-ups and touch points to discuss how the handover plan is going. As manager, you are responsible for cover. Now, including the employee is a great idea for smooth transition. Good practice is always to have a performance review with the employee so they know where they're at in terms of their own performance. You need to make sure the team are fully involved and aware of the plans. They're massive stakeholders in this. Listen to their feedback and concerns. Try to understand their expectations. Plan to have others doing the work whilst the employee is still in the building. Makes it a whole heap easier when there are queries or concerns coming up. Also, make sure you've got a backup. What are you planning for in case of the unexpected? What are you going to do if the child arrives early? Also worth considering, what if there are unexpected absences, longer periods of time where the individual's not at work, whether through ill health or otherwise? It's very important to plan for a period to develop and agree the handover plan. Always takes longer. Plan for the period to transition to the cover. Perhaps the work will be split during the transition, and plan for the period while the employee is at work, but all the work's transitioned. Consider how you're going to make sure everyone is on the same page. Make sure you understand the expectations of the team and communication around the time frame. Does everybody know when things are happening? You also need to be clear about what you expect and need by when. My top tips begin with making sure you share the responsibility. Make sure the employee is fully involved. Another really important point is making sure the handover happens early. Make sure that clients are handed over in a planned manner. You don't want to upset anybody. Make sure you properly communicate the plans for handover to the team and to key stakeholders in a timely fashion. It's a good idea to consider flexible working practices for the final weeks. It's also quite good practice ahead of the time they come back to work. Make sure you do a performance review. Always ensure you manage the individual's fears about the completion of projects and what they'll be coming back to. It's also very important to clarify and discuss how pay and bonus will work during and after the leave period. Don't get caught out on that one. You can avoid problems with the handover by making it a joint effort, being open to your colleagues' ideas, and try bringing a broader perspective to the subject.